Okay. We're getting this party started.
Haziq Ali.
I hope everybody is feeling good this morning. Good morning, millionaires. I gotta tell you, this has been a heck of a week already, man. Last night we did an Obsessed with Success that was based completely around the habits of self-made millionaires. I hope you enjoyed that. Day before that, we were talking about all these ways that people waste time. We were talking about the biggest time wasters that people deal with. A lot of times we think we don't have time. You know, we all want more time, but a lot of times we don't use the time we have in the smartest way possible. So we discussed that a little bit. Something else that we talked about, though, that I was really excited about is when we started breaking down this Juneteenth thing. On Monday, we spent the whole morning just talking about Juneteenth. I think I did that one from the airport. You know, and right there from the airport, I was kicking it with him about how I'm not even sure if most people understand Black Wall Street. Never mind Juneteenth. But we broke it down on Monday. We was talking about how racism made us rich. It's an amazing thing to think about. So I hope everybody enjoyed that on Monday. We might go into that a little bit later as well. But share this broadcast. Yeah, appreciate that, Molly Mall. I was just like, why don't I play my own music more in my intros? I be playing everybody else's music and I don't play my own. And that's ridiculous. So we're gonna change that a little bit. Good morning, Miss Kid. I love it. Allie in the house. Divine, what's up? Vita Lachey in here. Demeter. Good morning, Demeter. Mr. Terry's in the house. Good morning. All right, let's get it. I appreciate that, bro. All right, let's go ahead and call in on this live line. Can you profit from your pain? Doesn't hurt enough to shame. Cause if not, here it comes again. Hey, and again. It's the game. Ain't that true?
You have something special. You have greatness in you. Hello, this is Les Brown, and you're in the right place at the right time because we're going to bring them.
Please enter.
All right, let's get it.
Thank you. Please announce yourself. All participants are muted. Entry and exit tones are off.
All right. Good morning, millionaires. Good morning, millionaires. I hope you're feeling incredible this morning. My name is Haziq Ali. I'm a revenue acceleration coach and somebody who's here to help you go further, faster, with less effort. I'm not coming to you from the skill set point of view this morning. Yesterday, we did a lot of skill set, like we were talking about closing and all of that, right? Today, I'm strictly mindset. Today, I want us to focus strictly on mindset. Because anybody who's ever wanted anything out of life will tell you that slipping is part of the game. You know what I mean? But the whole play is, can you profit from your pain? That's why I chose that particular song this morning. Because it's like at the end of the day, we know that certain things are going to happen. We talk here all the time about how important failure is for your potential. Yesterday, the quote we sent out on Dear Millionaire, I don't know how many of you are a part of our text message system, but I think it was yesterday when we sent out this quote that was like, we were like, what if your dreams are deliberately placed out of reach so you have to become the kind of person that can achieve them? Ain't that deep? What if your dreams are placed deliberately out of reach so that you're forced to become the kind of person that can achieve them? Boy, that means something to me. I don't know if they hit somebody else in here, but that means something to me. And what I'm saying to you is that there are reasons, though, that we fail. One, we fail because we get the rebound from that, right? But the first reason, okay, is this idea that there's a reason that we lost. That in itself is so valuable. You know what I mean? We live in a world where everything is reactive. Everybody's responding to us. If you're a Kaizen Academy member, you know, you've heard me kind of break down this vibe of how You know, you can walk around and give people $100 bills, or you can walk around punching people in the face. But regardless, they're going to respond to you. You're the one with the power. And there's this author named Shiv Kara, you know, and she did a social science study. She kind of helped to propagate this study where they found out that there are these 7 reasons that entrepreneurs deal with. And I figured that these were powerful because I was like, man, if I could have a checklist of the stuff to avoid, then I could kind of win by default. Does that make sense? If I think about it that way, it really doesn't matter what kind of business I'm in. So if you know an entrepreneur, or if you have an entrepreneur that you've invited here today, you know, make sure you shout them out. Make sure that they, you know, we invite them home and whatnot. This is for the entrepreneurs this morning. This morning, I'm talking about those of you who are looking to achieve regardless of the resources you currently control. I'm talking to those of you who are looking to serve, who are looking to help people on this, who are looking to help God's people, right? If that's you, then I want you to share this training right now, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a checklist that you can write down in your notes. And then I want you to kind of judge yourself in each one of these categories and get a feel for where you are. We're going to do 1 to 5. I want to know where you are from scale of 1 to 5. Mimi the motivator checking in from YouTube. That's what I'm talking about. I want you to give yourself a scale, a score on a scale of 1 to 5 with each of these 7 categories that we're about to lay out. Oh man, Colorado checking in this morning. I love it. I love it. Let's get it. All right. So if you're ready for number 1, give me a number 1 and a share. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. These are mindset type reasons, y'all. Everybody ready? Ricky in the house. What up, bro? Clara. Okay, let's get it. All right, we ready then. All right, we ready. Here's the first one, y'all. It's going to almost sound like a cliche. You knew this one was coming, but we'd be remiss to not start off with this. Millionaires' lack of persistence. Lack of persistence. Most people fail, not because they don't have the knowledge. It's not because they don't have the talent. Most people quit because of the fact, most people fail because of the fact that they quit. They just flat out give up. I could tell you story after story about this in my own life, but there are people that are watching right now. My man Jamal Flono will film me on this. Mrs. Allie Goins will film me on this. Yo, even in this journey to new beginnings, if you could dig it, right? It is amazing how many people I watch come in and then just disappear. I'm not just talking about in the leadership. I'm talking about just normal people you'll bump into. And then they'll be like, oh man, I'm about to kill it. And I remember our little joke was like, I got high hopes for you, brother. We gonna see, you know, because everybody comes in. And what happens is, because no one is giving them expectation management, they don't have the fortitude to last. Millionaires, that don't fall into lack of knowledge. That don't fall into lack of talent. That falls into lack of understanding about what this thing is made up of. Millionaires, if you see somebody losing out here, when you see somebody quitting, it's because of expectation management. It's because of the fact that they expected it to get easier. It never gets easier. What happens is you get better. Millionaires, right now, I want you to look inside your own soul. I want you to look inside your own spirit and give yourself a score from 1 to 5 on how powerfully persistent you think that you remain. When you're in the face of all hell breaking loose, when you're in the face of rejection, when you're facing criticism, when you're facing odds that make you shiver, right? Where do you find yourself? Score 1 to 5. Number 5 is I'm straight up, you know, just beast mode 24/7, right? And then number 1 is that, like, you know what? I do kind of jump from thing to thing all the time. Once something gets rough, I say, oh, well, this ain't for me. And I bounce, because there's a thin line. There's a thin line. I want to hear it. Because if you're trying to increase your persistence, if you're trying to get rid of this lack of persistence that you have, I want to suggest you try new approaches. Persistence is important, but repeating the same actions over and over again, hoping that this time it'll work, that's crazy. That's insanity. That's literally insanity. We're not looking to keep on trying again with the same exact methods. We're going to adopt, adapt, and improve. Try different approaches to that target. Because we got to remember, y'all, the target is only the target. The goal is to become better. The goal is to become more. If we want more, we want to become more. These targets are just helping us become more in different areas. You get what I mean? You got to be looking at the places where you were unsuccessful previously. And you got to make decisions about what to change, right? You have to make decisions about what tactics to switch up. Is that making sense? You got to keep making adjustments. You got to make mid-course corrections. When you're driving a car, you're constantly doing it, and that road looks straight sometimes. On an airplane, is constantly, right? They say an airplane is off course 90% of the flight. It's constantly you got wind blowing. You got to avoid this tree. Oh, this other airline's flight path. You got to avoid, right? But lack of persistence. Where are you with your persistence? Let me see these scores. Okay, Miss Kid gave herself a 4. I love that. Michelle gave herself a 4. I love that. Demita gave herself a 3. Miss V. Lachey gave a 4. Mimi was 3.8. All right, let's share this thing. Here's the second one, y'all. Number 2 of the second reasons that they found that people fail is lack of conviction. Lack of conviction is number 2. Lack of conviction. Where are you with your, at the beginning of this 90-day challenge, one of the exercises, and I don't care if you're just now joining in July. I don't care if you're just now getting started. It's okay. It's okay, because you can change your life with 30 days, and we still got over 60 left. But here's one of the things that I suggest you do if you haven't yet. You got to come up with a list of reasons that you need your goal to happen. Last night I was meeting with a bunch of our leaders, and some of them were like, man, I just can't, because one of the things you're supposed to do for the 90-day challenge, right, is you're supposed to go and drive your dream car, or you're supposed to go and go walk through your dream home, your dream living quarters, whatever it is, and people were like, man, I got to be honest. I just can't get turned up about the car. I just don't really care about driving a Lamborghini. What I would like to do is go and take a picture with some land. And I said, you know what? Yeah, because what you have to do is be convicted. We don't care what you're convicted about. What I care about is that most people won't acknowledge their dreams. It gets so painful to look over there that before you know it, they just stop looking. That's what I'm scared about. So millionaires, where are you with your conviction? How many of you took that first step from that 90-day challenge and you wrote down that list of reasons that you must achieve what it is that you said that you're trying to do? If you lack conviction, then you're middle of the road. But what happens to people in the middle of the road? They get run over. When people don't have conviction, they go along to get along, and they look up and they're living somebody else's life. Because they lack conviction, they also lack confidence. You hear me? Do you know how many times throughout history they felt the way some of us do, that this is God's a hand on their shoulders? Do you know what kind of power that sense of conviction gives you when you feel like what you're doing is ordained? It's like, I am never feeling weird about nothing. If somebody's not with it, I know it's God's plan. It is amazing what happens when you're convicted. I know that we're on a mission, and so therefore it gives me what looks to other people as courage, or what looks to other people as this supreme sense of confidence, where really it's just that I'm convicted. I don't feel the need to conform to be accepted. I don't feel the need to, I'm just trying to make sure that I'm listening to God and then I'm kind of doing that. I'm paying attention to the signs, that I'm not missing this sign or missing this symbol. Sometimes these signs and symbols in pieces of an idea. Sometimes they're people that I meet. Sometimes they're resources that become apparent. But I can tell that God is moving us along, right? And it's going in perfect order. I sense sometimes, and maybe there are things I could do to speed it up. And obviously there are things that we can do to slow it down. But I can tell that this train is running on time. You get what I mean? What about you? What is your sense of conviction? Are you conforming so that you can be accepted, even when what you know you're doing don't feel right? You're going to have to decide what's important to you. If something is worth doing, it's worth doing right. It's worth doing well, but you're going to have to decide what's important to you. You know, me and my lady are putting together this stuff, man. And I had a convo with her yesterday. I was like, hey, you know, what is our value system here? Do we want to get this done by a certain time and get minimum viable product? Or is our whole play to make sure this thing is perfect? Because we're not going to get started. And then, you know, her being a fall person now, she's like, man, this thing got to be right. And I was like, okay, you know, I figured that's where we were. But now I understand, because I know where she's convicted at, and then I can lay off the pressure on something that does not match her value system. You get what I mean? There's a little bit of communication pro wrapped up in there too. You get what I'm saying to you? Hey man, what I'm saying to you is that you got to decide what's important to you. If something's worth doing, then it's worth doing right. If you ain't got time to do it right, how you got time to do it twice? So I could dig that. Millionaires, it's okay to collaborate. It's okay to cooperate for success, but it's not okay to compromise your values. You get what I mean? Where are you with this thing? Give yourself a score of 1 to 5 on your conviction. 1 to 5 on your conviction. And then give us a share, right? Give us a share. Give us a share. Give us a share. That's right, Demeter. God is good all the time. All right, check it out. Number three. Ooh-wee. This is the third reason that entrepreneurs fail, y'all. And tomorrow's Free Coaching Friday, so we can get even deeper into some of this if y'all want. But number 3, and this is a heavy one, it's rationalization. Rationalization will make you fail. You can fail for perfectly legitimate reasons. Do you know that? You can fail for perfectly legitimate reasons. You can have perfectly legitimate reasons why you fail. Listen to me. You could miss this event. You could not go to that place where you committed to go because you just had a car accident. Man, maybe it's your wedding anniversary. Man, maybe it's this maybe it's your birthday and you're allowed to take off. You're allowed to, everybody will understand and you will lose, man. I'm gonna tell you something. Winners might analyze, but they never rationalize. Hey, Jamal, this makes me think of our conversation yesterday, bro. I'm looking for that text message today. Let me know you hear me, Jamal. I'm looking for that text message today, bro. Winners might analyze, but they never rationalize. I'm gonna tell you what the you know, and when I use the word winner, when I use the word loser, I want to be clear. They have a word for people who expect to win. They call them winners. They also have a word for people who expect to lose, right? They got a word for people that expect to lose. I'm locking that in. So everybody helping me hold Jamal accountable. My man, Coach Flono in the house. Okay. The ones that expect to lose, because I don't want to say losers because it has such a heavy sense of judgment on it, right? But what I'm trying to say is that since we're talking about failure, the ones who fail, the ones who expect to lose, millionaires, I don't want to say losers. I want to say the ones who expect to lose, right? The ones who expect to lose, they rationalize and they have a book full of excuses to tell you why they couldn't succeed. They don't understand that all of those unique reasons why the odds are against them are exactly what will make them a legend if they'll just accept the challenge. God knows that you have a tough battle in front of you, but that's because he considers you powerful. He considers you one of his strongest. Don't you see that sometimes your dreams are deliberately placed out of reach to force you to become the kind of person that can achieve them? Millionaires, we got to change our perspective. Where are you with telling yourself rationalize? Where are you with it? Give yourself score of 1 to 5. How clear are you? You know, in the Kaizen Academy, we have this whole course that I don't think we go over nearly enough on emotional, critical thinking, being emotionally tough with yourself, mental toughness, critical thinking. You can't think of every unsuccessful attempt as a failure. There are very few people that succeed at something the first time, right? And then a lot of times, if they do that, it was luck, and they're destroyed the rest of their life. They can't figure out how they did it. Anybody ever heard of a one-hit wonder? The rest of their life, they're trying to chase that because of the fact that it happened too quick. You don't always want to succeed your first time out. Can you dig that? Man, listen to me. Do your best to learn everything you can about what happened and why, and your whole life going to change. I ain't lying to you, man. I ain't lying to you. That's exactly right. The average expect to lose. That's it. That's it. My man Steven checking in. All right. So where are you on a scale of 1 to 5 on that? Let's move on. Let's move on. Here's number 4. Here's a fourth reason that social science tells us that entrepreneurs fail. You ready? Millionaires, it's a dismissal of past mistakes. The dismissal of past mistakes. Let me tell you what a lot of us do. A lot of us avoid making mistakes. A lot of us avoid making mistakes, right? And the reason I'm pointing that out is because that's that expect to lose vibe again, right? We avoid it. But then some of us, we're on the opposite side of the spectrum. You know how they say, you know, when you have confidence with no competence, that's just pure ego, right? Right? Confidence without the competence. Well, let me tell you how that shows up. That shows up in dismissing past mistakes. And let me tell you our favorite way to dismiss past mistakes. We blame everybody else. Somebody give me this in the comments, y'all. The only healthy response to adversity is to take complete responsibility. Can somebody give me that in the comments? The only healthy response to any adversity is to take complete responsibility. Now, I didn't say it's your fault. No. Sometimes our boss was crazy or our parents were crazy. Do you know your parents ain't God? We all old enough to have this adult conversation. Your parents ain't perfect. They just had sex. Hope I'm not in the wrong place to be real. But check it out. That means it ain't our fault, but it is our responsibility. Let me tell you what a lot of us do, though. We go through the mistake headstrong, you know what I mean? Like the rhinoceros, we just, right? And then the devil may care, but we don't, about all the bloodletting that happened. Everything that happened is like we just block it out because, man, it's too painful to think about, or it wasn't our fault, or it was on somebody else. We just dismiss it all. That's why when you're in 12-step programs and you're really looking for life transformation, one of the things they do is have you call and apologize to people. Before we started this 90-day challenge, one of the things that we asked you to do was come up with something that you were going to let go of. Let go of some of this stuff where you are just, we're not saying dismiss it, though. We're saying that failure is a teacher if we have the right attitude. We're saying that wise people learn from their mistakes. Check it out. Wise people learn from other people's mistakes. But my goodness, experience is the name we give the slip-ups. I'm talking to this lady yesterday. She's talking about, boy, I'm one of the wisest. She's like, you know, I'm one of the wisest people ever met, you know. And then she keeps on, she was just breaking down all of this vibe about how people always come to her for advice and all that. But as you got deeper into her story, you know, this lady in there had to sit down in prison and stuff. And she done had to, I mean, it's just like a whole bunch of stuff that has gone on in her life. And what does that tell us? That tells us that wisdom comes from bad decisions. You hear me? Wisdom comes from bad decisions. Stop beating yourself up. All you're doing is setting yourself up to be wise. But we don't dismiss the mistake because we've never failed to solve a problem we clearly define. We don't dismiss the mistake. Define the problem better. Analyze the situation. You're not overwhelmed. You probably just don't have clarity. Because clarity gives you focus, and focus gives you power, right? Focus gives you energy. Maybe you're not clear on what you want to achieve. Maybe you're not clear on what your strategy is. We gave each other a strategy during this 90-day challenge. We said that we were going to do a daily activity number, and that no matter what, we were going to let this be the first domino. We used to set up those dominoes, y'all. 10 dominoes in a row, 100 dominoes. How many people used to play dominoes? Let me see dominoes in the comments. Let me see dominoes if you used to. Okay, maybe you didn't play dominoes, but maybe you have set them up and done a little chain reaction thing. If you've ever done that, then somebody give me dominoes in the comments. I just want to see if I'm by myself. I cannot be the only one that used to put these dominoes up in a row. And man, you'll set it up, going around corners, knocking this over, like hitting the thing. Maybe I didn't go as hard as we would go, right? But here's what I bet you noticed. All it took was one domino, whether you set up 10 or 100 or 1,000, right? Whether you set it up with the whole neighborhood or the whole summer camp. Here's what I know. It only took one domino to knock the rest over. That daily activity number might be that first domino that changes your whole life, right? You don't change your life in a day. You change your life in a daily. So what's your strategy? Why aren't you working it? Why didn't it work? You say, oh, this business ain't working. Businesses don't work. You work the business, right? If you need money, you have more options, right? You get to increase revenue. You get to cut expenses. What are you trying to do? But what we're going to stop doing is dismissing our mistakes. And then that leads us to number 5, y'all. That leads us to number 5. You know, after you give yourself a rank on number 4, right? Where are you with 1 to 5? How much do you learn from your mistakes? We know one of the big mistakes, one of the big failure pieces is that people dismiss them instead of analyze them. But here's the 5th one. Lack of discipline. Lack of discipline. Anybody who's ever accomplished anything worthwhile has never done it without discipline, without self-control, without the ability to follow through with something, even after the feeling that I committed to it in it has passed. That means we can't be a perfectionist, right? We got whole trainings we've done. I'm not gonna go there. You can look at some of the trainings we've done on perfectionism being a curse, the curse of the poor. And I understand it. You might have this idealized version of what this thing got to look like, and that's motivational, but it might not be realistic. Maybe it's time to get in a minimum viable product in certain situations. Succeeding at one goal ain't going to eliminate all your other problems. So you got to be clear on that. You got to understand that, like, this is just the first step in a process. You can't look at the larva and know it's going to be a butterfly. You can't look at the infant and know that's going to be president of the United States or a lawyer or a brain surgeon. That's not how it works. But what you got to do is be clear on what will satisfy your objectives and don't obsess about the superficial. I promise you 2 more, so I'm gonna hurry up. Number 6 is poor self-esteem. That's why we're working on your self-image every day. The best way I can put this one, y'all, is that entrepreneurs fail because of the way they see themselves. You can tell the way someone sees himself by how hard they're going, right? When you see somebody going really hard to blow it, to ruin the relationship, they're going really hard to blow it, to ruin their bank account. They're going really hard to blow it, to ruin their health. It's because their self-esteem is seeing themselves at a level that's above where they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be down here. They're supposed to be miserable. They're supposed to be broke. They're supposed to be unhealthy. That's their self-image. Whenever you see somebody kind of chilling, maintaining where they are, not really fighting, that means they think they're where they're supposed to be, right? If you see them messing it up, it means that they think they look too good or they think they have too much money. They're not supposed to have a job this good. You with me? That's self-esteem. But check it out. When someone has high self-esteem, you see them climbing for more because they're like, this ain't me. This ain't my life. I'm meant for more than this. I don't like how I look. I don't like how my bank account looks. I'm going to do something about it. You get what I mean? One of the main reasons that people fail is their poor self-image. You might be labeling yourself as a failure because you're thinking failure is a person instead of an event, right? You're not a failure until you stop trying. Maybe you got to stop looking at success as something that is external and start realizing that greatness is a decision, that success is a trajectory, that greatness is a direction, not a destination. Greatness is a decision. It's a direction, but it's not a point. You get what I mean? It's not a point on a map. It's a trajectory. And once you realize that the greatness that you seek is internal, not out there, we're all living in two different worlds. But damn, the one we live in inside has got to start serving us instead of hurting us. Am I making sense to somebody out there? And that's why we do affirmations. It's time for you to call in on the affirmation line. Don't skip this part of your morning routine, because number 7 is a fatalistic attitude that prevents people from accepting responsibility for their position in life. But I'm gonna tell you something. You were at the scene of the crime every time, baby. You keep on saying that your lack of success is bad luck. You keep on saying, oh, this person was crazy. You keep on saying, oh, I just don't have enough money. Well, how do you have so much crap? How are you able to eat out so much, et cetera, so forth? What you're doing is having a fatalistic attitude. You're resigning yourself to your fate. You're deciding that the way your present conditions are is the way it always has to be. I want you to look in the mirror every morning and say, I am in control. I am in charge. I take complete responsibility for my life. I practice extreme ownership, because all freedom comes from discipline. And yes, you might not have control over every phase of your life, millionaires, but you got more control than you realize. That's why we do these affirmations. Sometimes we just like, whoa, because at the end of the day, I even get to control how I feel. I don't care if it's raining outside. I don't care if my mama getting on my nerves. I get to control how I feel. Millionaires, with that said, repeat after me. I am so happy and grateful